Concentrate. We almost have it.
Well now, that must be the 5th time I heard him say that. This stupid ritual is taking too goddamn long. Oh shit, here come the hobblers.
Are you going to be all right?
I'm fine. Worry about those dead walkers.
Are you hurt, Buffalo?
When I need a healer, I'll tell you. For now, we just have to protect the scribes.
Got it, Sergeant. I'll keep the hobblers busy.
Gyakorlatilag itt ezeket a viccegőket gyorsan el kell intézni. Ugye meg kell védenünk a mágusokat, hogy azt a rituálét be tudják fejezni. Amiről egyelőre fogalmunk sincs, hogy mi az. De majd nem sokára megtudjuk. Gyakorlatilag most.
Something is wrong. The catalyzer shouldn't do that. Stay away from my daughter!
I shall not let thy weakness be our downfall.
Egy különös erő lett túrá rajtad, most már használhatod a láng hatalmát a taktikai menü segítségével, használd a tűzgömböt a 3-as gombbal, használd a lángoló fegyver képességet a 4-es gombbal. Hát én a lángoló kardot fogom használni, erre annak sokkal több értelmét látom. Meg most az életerő italnak is. Na, gyakorlatilag ezt a dögöt úgy tudjuk csak legyőzni, hogyha levágjuk az egyik lábát. Meg hogyha nem akadunk be. Illetve ha nagyon-nagyon vigyázunk magunkra. Négyni. Menjünk egy picit odébb. Azt hiszem a lába az már megvan. Menjünk még egy életerő italt. Bekapcsolom megint a kardot. Azt akkor szétvágom. Jó, és már csak egyetlen egy karját kell levágni. És ennyi volt.
Burning.
How did I do that? Captain, I think it's time we talked about a promotion.
We don't have time for this, Vulcan. We need to move out before the rest of them get here.
The passes are probably crawling with them already.
There's a passage to the other side of the mountain. It will lead us to the swamp.
The swamp? Oh, that sounds fun. Hey, did anybody see what I just did to that huge fucking monster? I mean, seriously, I fried that thing. I saved our asses, and you're all just, hey, what's for lunch?
I said shut it, Vulcan.
Thou hast fled.
What the?
Thou didst hold the power to face the necromancers, yet thou didst flee.
I had no choice.
No choice. Hast thou even thought of choosing? Thou art fled like a thief, and thou hast left me, a shadow of myself, trapped here in this prison.
I did not create this situation. I'm not even sure I understand what has happened.
The hour for questions is past. Thou must act. It is I who will suffer for thy cowardice. I who will pay for thine fault. I who will face extinction. And if I must die, if the flame is extinguished, our world will die as well.
I will not let the flame die. I am in a war against these necromancers, and at last I have the power to fight them.
What dost thou hope to accomplish in this ridiculous human shell? As it is now, it is useless to us. The flame is not a toy for mewing infants. It exists to reign. Its power must not be stolen from thee. We must reconquer the world heart as swiftly as we may.
Hey, Vulcan, enough of your daydreaming. Move your ass, huh?
Buffalo.
Vulcan, you hear me? Pull your finger out.
Huh? Yeah, I hear you. My head feels like a bomb went off in it.
Well, shake it off. We're still not at the end of this stinking swamp, and I'm not gonna carry you all the way to the village.
Anyway, how come Hawk isn't the one with me here? He's the lead scout. I always go with him.
Hawk is covering the back of the line, so this time, I'm the one who goes with you. You'll get over it.
Rajta... Hát igazából igen. Rajtunk tartják a szemünket.
Why do I get the
Illetve
feeling I'm
szemeiket.
under surveillance?
You think nobody noticed your little stunt at the temple? Damn right we're watching you. Now shut your trap and keep an eye on our perimeter, while I keep an eye on you.
And while the captain has a nice chat about me with the red scribes.
It'll be a lot easier to talk to those two-faced snakes without you hanging around. Don't worry about it. He'll tell you what you need to know. And if he doesn't tell you, then I will.
Thanks, Sarge.
Let's get moving before everybody catches up.
You lot are about as discreet as a herd of hunchbacks.
I thought that elves were supposed to have superior eyesight. Do we look like stiffs to you, dickhead?
Not yet. But with an arrow sticking out of your throat, I'm certain that even a chatterbox like you could do a passable impression.
And you'd be the next one down.
Possibly. Perhaps I should aim for the largest target first.
Not if you want to keep both your balls.
What have we here? Buffalo in person. Well, that's a good sign.
What's going on here? Who's the scrag with the pointy ears?
Thanks for noticing. I try to keep them sharp. I am called Relmar, and I gather the red-faced fat belly with the filthy beard is none other than the famous Elric, leader of the Freeborn Blades.
They call me the Captain.
All the Freeborn Blades call you Captain Elric. I have no doubt that they do. As for me, I've never had much interest in titles or in military protocol. I judge people by their deeds.
Na jó, mit kerestek itt a mocsárföldön?
And what are you doing down in the swamps, besides threatening honest mercenaries?
Looking for you. Well, I began by searching for the Red Scribes. Prince Arundel is wounded. We had to withdraw to Valvanor, where I learned that you were expected. I just wanted to make sure you found your way there.
This is not my first walk in the wilds, arsewipe. As you can see, I'm on the right path, and we've nearly reached our destination.
Captain, those creatures I told you about this morning are gathering nearby. They're probably getting ready to attack us.
Ah, well those are called chrysalids. They wait until they have gathered enough numbers, and then they overwhelm you. And it would seem your little group is attracting a whole swarm to the village.
Well, we'll give them a welcome.
Actually, in spite of themselves, these creatures do an excellent job of keeping Dead Walker scouts away without raising any suspicions. If we allow them to gather here and then massacre them, I fear we'll be moving their territory a bit too close to Valvanor, which will lead to our being discovered sooner or later. I suggest we send 1 or 2 men back. This will keep them separated and occupied, while the rest make it to the village. I'm ready to volunteer, if you fear I might try and slip away. I know the area well.
Sounds like a plan to me. Vulcan, you're on it.
I want to go too. The animals and plants in this swamp are extraordinary. And the venom of these chrysalids seems very interesting. I'd love to get a chance to observe them more closely.
Sybil, that is out of the question. Have you lost your mind? It's too dangerous.
Valamilyen Sybil.
Come on, let her off the leash. It'll be good for her. I promise I'll bring her back in one piece.
Vulcan, rule number 2.
We'll see you at the village.
Sybil!
See you later.
Na. 5. szintek lettünk közben. A piromata. A feloldásra került a piromata képesség fa. Menj a képességek menübe az Y-on, jelköthesd rá a pontjaidat. Nos, ezt a piromatát, ezt majd előnybe fogjuk majd részesíteni idővel. Na de akkor nézzük meg itt a harcosnál, hogy mi is itt a helyzet. Ugye 6 pontot itt már elköltöttünk, úgyhogy teljesen lényegében átmehetünk az amatőr szintre. Kritikus találat, igen. Ez micsoda? Megszakítás képesség nehéz fegyverekkel. Aha. Szerintem először ezt fogjuk kimaxolni. Esély kritikus találatra sikeres visszatámadás után 25%. Ez teljes mértékben jó. Na, szenvedélyes, még mindig nem érhető el, tehát még 8 ellenfelet kéne még valahogyan eliminálnom, hogy ezt meg tudjam szerezni. De közben azért ezt, lehet, hogy ezt ki fogom maxolni. Hát nem azt, hogy ki fogom maxolni, hanem ki fogom venni, elsajátítani. Illetve vannak még itt harci dolgok is, tehát lényegében a kardsebzését tudjuk növelni 2-vel. De majd akkor később. Akkor egyre nem teszek el semmit. Menj az ellenségek menübe a naplón keresztül információkat tudtass meg azon ellenfejedről, akikkel eddig nem találkoztál és tanulmányozhatod őket. Nos, hogy miért választottam Sibilt? 1. Mert nő, én meg férfi vagyok. 2. Azért, mert Sibyl úgymond a leghatékonyabb társunk szerintem az egész játék során. Na de hogyha már itt vagyunk, akkor gyakorlatilag jön a játéknak az a része, amikor beszélgetés van ezerrel.
Sybil, can I talk to you?
Yes?
Hát akit nem érdekelnek ezek a dolgok, azok nyugodtan pörgessenek akkor bele a videóba. Lenne néhány kérdésem
I'd like to
hozzád.
ask you a few questions.
What do you want to know?
Mert ezt most én még végig fogom menni.
So Alas is your father?
Yes. And yes, he is the leader of the Red Scribes.
That's handy for you.
You are so predictable. Daddy's little girl can do whatever she wants, right? Don't fool yourself. I'm endlessly having to prove myself more than any other scribe. My father doesn't treat me better than the others, and I expect no less from him.
At least that explains why you look like you just stepped out of a library. I guess he encourages you?
Yes, of course. But I'm big enough to make my own choices. Knowledge fascinates me, and I suppose it would have been like that whoever my father was.
Igen, akkor a rend.
Can you tell me more about your order?
Of course. The Red Scribes are an order of sages. Our quest is to find the answers to all the great mysteries of this world.
And so you know about magic?
We study magic from an essentially theoretical viewpoint, but we're not an order of magicians. Even though some of us practice healing magic, but we have nothing to do with the destructive power magic used by the Lords of the Frozen Shadows, and we know very little about that domain, unfortunately.
I see. But that doesn't mean you can't research it, huh?
Obviously, especially now. Any knowledge which would help us turn this war around would be helpful. But according to our archives, we were already studying magic more than 5 centuries ago.
Oh, really?
Jó, akkor mik ezek a
What
jégurak?
do you know about the Ice Lords?
As much as it is possible to know without having met them. In some ways, they're quite fascinating, even though the term might seem inappropriate.
Hogyan lehet őket megölni?
Perfect. How do we kill him?
If I knew that, do you think I would keep it to myself? But I can tell you this, we do believe it's possible. We know that there are 7 lords. Black Storm, Lady Crystal, Marshal Winters, the White Lady, Lord Blackfrost, the Chiller, and the Ice Duchess.
Everybody knows that. We've had our asses kicked by them enough.
For sure. But in the past, there were more of them. Some scrolls talk of 9 or a dozen, even of 30 lords. Of course it's confusing. And I doubt they would have freely given the information of how to kill one of them. But you can bet that some of them have died. We just have to discover how.
Nem vagyok benne biztos, de azt hiszem mind a 7 darab ilyen jég urat meg fogjuk ölni. Igazából mind a 7-tel fogunk találkozni játék során. Most nem tudom összeszámolni, hogy mennyi ilyen jégúr van. De aztán lehet, hogy megvan a 7, na mindegy. Honnan jöttek?
Where did they come from?
Most people believe that the lords appeared recently, at the beginning of the war. But I have found certain scrolls that lead me to believe they have been around more than 300 years. They are originally from a region far to the north of Vertiel. For a long time, they remained there. The beginning of their conquest is quite recent. We all think that the war started 10 years ago, but in fact, it is much longer, maybe even the last century. It took them a long time to escape from their region of origin. The dwarf kingdoms were in their way, and they put up a fight.
You had me going there for a moment. I'm sorry, but dwarves? Save it for the children.
But you're wrong. The dwarves did exist, but the Ice Lords exterminated them.
Right. And I bet they also massacred all those poor dragons and goblins.
You know that dragons and goblins don't exist. You're impossible.
Ez hülyeség, sarkányok léteznek. Van bármi gyenge pontjuk ezeknek a jéguraknak?
Do they have any weaknesses that we could exploit?
Not that I know of. All of the Ice Lords are powerful sorcerers. They are far more powerful than all the other magicians. They have an unlimited army. If they have a weakness, it's not that.
But in spite of all of this, you think there is something?
I do. We often imagine the Ice Lords as a vast megalithic power. But that's not true. In fact, they desperately hunger for power. Just because they pooled their powers to create the Deadwalker army doesn't mean they like each other. Their balance of power is precarious. As soon as they are done with destroying Vertiel, they'll probably start killing each other.
Sure, but that doesn't help us much if we have to wait until they're done.
Perhaps there is a way to stir up the tensions between them. even if for the moment, I can't think how.
Na,
Let's change the
témaváltás.
subject.